on in the mind has a adverse effect on the body, you know. So that's why it's pivotal that you obtain a peace of mind, you obtain a calm mind, a powerful mind, strong mind, so your body can in turn be strong, healthy.
Breathe, and all my people just breathe, breathe, and all my people just breathe, breathe, and all my people just breathe.
Hello, welcome. You know what time it is. You already know what the fuck be going on. It's a Give You Blues music show where we listen to the blues, where we discuss our blues. That is blues that was, is, and has come to be. And today we have a very special guest coming on air, Treyzis. He will be on air to, just chat with us about, his music, his photography, what gives him the blues and how he gets out of it. Hello, welcome. We're here today with Trey L. Broomfield, aka Treyzis, out here, the talented, multidisciplinary artist making music, taking pictures with his photography. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself,
For sure. What up, y'all? I am Trey, aka Treyzis, aka Funk Master Trey. But yeah, I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I feel like most people, like up to this point, probably know me for my photography. I've been doing photography ever since maybe 2015ish, so was that like 7-8 years? So I've been in that game for a while. 2020 started making music. I always had the interest to make music. I always said I didn't have the time, but 2020 came and I had no excuses. So, I started making music under the name Treyzis, and yeah, those are my two main kind of mediums. I also do video work. I do a little bit of graphic design stuff here and there too, but yeah, that's me from El Paso, Texas, and my star sign. I'm a Leo.
Ooh, okay. That makes sense. No, I'm just kidding.
The shade.
No, I'm just kidding. It just makes sense because you're very outgoing and very open. Like, you were very excited to do this show with me, even though we've never met each other. So I really appreciated that.
Of course, it's all love. You always show love, and I always appreciate that. So
Of
I can at
course.
least do the same for you. So.
Well, I appreciate that. But speaking of your art, and you said you do like a little graphic design too, I was wondering because I've seen all of your album covers for your music. Do you design that yourself?
I do all my album covers.
That is really
So
beautiful.
yeah. I dabble in graphic design. I don't sell myself as a graphic designer just because I don't like doing freelance work like that. But I had a clothing line for a little bit, and I do all my album art and the whole nine. So a lot of this stuff is very much in house. So yeah.
Wow, okay. What's your clothing line called? Is it still like commission? Like, could we pop some
Um,
gear,
it used to be called Black Propaganda. I changed the name. It's called Free World Citizen.
Oh,
Um,
okay, nice, nice.
yeah. So I mean, if anybody wants to order, they could hit me up through Instagram. So yeah.
I think I caught a couple of interviews that you did on Free World Citizen page too about your new song Boogie Nights. Let's go.
Yes, indeed.
That was
Yes,
cool.
indeed. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's my newest song. Definitely a feel good kind of song. So.
Yes. That's cool. So speaking also of your name, you mentioned Treyzis. So whenever you started, breaking into music, what made you come up with that name as your artist name?
um, Treyzis has actually been around probably since 2015. So before I even started making music, I was going by Treyzis. Um, it was kind of it was kind of my friend's idea to he kind of coined the word Treyzis. We were talking about Kanye West's album Yeezus. Um,
Nice.
a lot of mixed opinions on that album. I was telling him that I actually liked that album. He thought it was hot garbage. But he just kind of just off the whiff, he coined the term Treyzis, and it's had different evolutions in its spelling. But yeah, Treyzis has been around for a while, and for me, like it's very much like I feel like Treyzis is like a representation of like my higher self.
Mm.
So that's like that's where I start getting into like my spiritual aspects and like things like that is when I'm tapping into like that Treyzis energy, that Christ conscious kind of energy. So that's kind of like what it means to me, and it just serves as a reminder for me to like to be the best that I can be, and look out for others and things like that. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I also didn't really like the Yeezus album. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, he has a couple good songs on there, but if we're being honest, it wasn't his strongest album.
I I mean, I'm not mad at that. I mean, it's definitely a different album. I just think the context surrounding that album was very dope. And there's an interesting storyline that's weaved through it, but we don't have to get into that. But
Oh,
but
that's
yeah.
fair. But cool. So you're talking about, spirituality, and I always see you talking about like positivity and practicing mindfulness on Instagram and social media and all of that. So why do you think it's important for people to, practice mindfulness, and like what does mindfulness mean to you?
I think it's important because like honestly, like the supreme knowledge is like knowledge itself. And when you practice mindfulness, I feel like you're naturally kind of tapping into that energy, and it's just good to live a conscious lifestyle. You know what I mean? You don't want to go through your whole life just unconscious, just going through the motions and things like that. So mindfulness is like very important. Just I feel like for anybody, I think anybody can benefit, and I push that in my music a lot because you know I'm all about balance, and with today's music, there's a lot of good music. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like a lot of stuff that's being pushed into the mainstream is very like negative most of the time. And nowadays, given the current state of the world, it's very easy to just be down on yourself. There's always something to be upset about. But again, balance in everything. There's always something to be happy about. So I try to, at least with my music, try to push that kind of balance because I feel like it's not often noticed or recognized. So
Hmm, I like that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I was also thinking about that because I don't know if you know the band Tank and the Bangas.
I know a couple of their songs.
Yeah, so like
They're dope.
recently, oh, I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I just said they're dope. I just said they're
They are pretty
dope.
dope. They recently released this song called Black Folk, and it had me really feeling some type of way because it was like they were trying to say like the positive things and the negative things like about black people, and it just was like I don't know what they were trying to get across from it. It just really had me like I don't know, like are you trying to like say that we're cool? Like are you trying to talk shit? Like I'm just so confused. Like
It's the balance. I mean, and that's I
yeah.
feel like that's I haven't heard the song, but I think that's a brave song to do.
Yeah.
But it's the balance because like everybody has a shadow. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
again, there's balance in everything, and it's a matter of at least for me, I try to stay on that middle path. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Not to be overly positive, but not be super negative. Just be right in the middle.
Mm,
But you know, balance in everything. I always say that. That's like a mantra for me.
that's cool. So speaking of like overly positive, at one point everybody was trying to practice mindfulness. I think when like the pandemic first hit, they were like, we
Hmm.
have to be really positive. We need to, take in positivity. This is like a time for rest. But then I think they started getting down on themselves and was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of all this toxic positivity. So what do you say about toxic positivity? Has anybody ever said that you exude toxic positivity because you're always talking about mindfulness? Like, do they think you're going too far? And what do you have to say about it?
I mean, they've never said it to me.
Okay,
They
that's
might be
good.
saying it to other people, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's just about being real and being real and being able to identify these emotions and not being super attached to a lot of emotions. You know what I mean? Because like at the end of the day, like you kind of have control over your emotions and you kind of choose like how long you want to be upset about something and like the whole nine. So at the end of the day, like when people talk about toxic positivity and stuff, like I think the remedy to that is just to be real. You know what I mean? Be honest with yourself and be honest with others. But being mindful of what you're feeling and not letting that dictate like your life, if that makes sense. So
It definitely does make sense. And speaking also of like mindfulness, you also talked a little bit like, we have shadows. I don't know too much about, I guess, spirituality. Like, I'm trying to get more into it, but recently I was talking about this with my friend and shadow work. Do you?
with shadow work, like I feel like it's a natural thing that comes out of mindfulness. And like again, it's just being able to recognize that like not everything is good and being able to recognize those negative aspects that you carry in your life. And like everybody has them because we all have a polarity within us. So just being able to recognize that and like work on that in your life, but being conscious of the fact that shadow work is something that never stops. You're never gonna get to a point where like, all right, I'm done with my shadow work and I'm good. Like it's just a lifelong kind of thing. And again, like at the end of the day, it goes back to being conscious of yourself and having that knowledge of yourself. So
Cool. I guess that kind of sounds like, healing. Like you're just kind of healing the
100%,
wounds that are in you in a way. In such a
100%.
way. That's cool. Also, speaking of mindfulness, just a little bit more. I know we're on this topic for like a really long time,
I love
but
it.
also like, do you feel, just like a random question, do you feel your body? Like, like, do you feel your body? Like, any given moment, like, you're always like feeling your body, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't say like it's an all the time thing. I have to be in a certain space. So like whenever I do a meditation, like I definitely feel my body. Like whenever I'm very present, like I feel my body. And like sometimes when you're going through the emotions of life, you're not always like super present. You're just kind of going with the flow. But I do feel my body though, and I think that's an important thing to do. Because like that's like your vessel. You know what I mean? And it's good to kind of see where it's at. You know what I mean? So
That's true. So you out here, you do meditation. Do you also do like a little bit of yoga? Like, are you out here yogi master, also funk master?
I don't do yoga. I want to get into it. I just haven't like taken the dive. I do gym. I like to box a little bit, hit the bag and whatnot. So that's my form of like physical self care. But I do want to get into yoga. I just haven't like made the jump though. So time and everything. So
That's cool. Yeah. So also speaking about self-care, what other self-care activities do you do? Because, the show is called Give You Blues. So I want to also talk about, what gives you the blues and like what helps you get out of the blues. And I know a lot of people practice self-care. Is that like something that you do to get out of the blues?
um my self care is, again, I'm super into music. So and like I'm building up a decent vinyl collection. So like one thing I would do is light some incense, play some vinyl and just like listen to the music. You know what I mean? Not do anything else and just relax, just listen to the music. Another form of self care is just meditation. That's 100%. And then just writing, like just writing the music, even if it's like something I'm not gonna release, just me kind of engaging in that practice. Just it's kind of therapeutic for me. So those are a couple ways I kind of engage in self care. And then
That's cool.
hikes too. I love a hike. Love a hike. So that's good.
That's cool. That's cool. Especially because, El Paso, they have a lot of mountains out there. So I know it's a lot of hiking that you do. But you said you live in Colorado now? Is that where you're
Yeah.
stationed?
So I'm in Colorado for the time. I'm gonna be here till the end of the month, and I'm heading back to El Paso. But I've been here since May 2021. So I'm up here doing a contract work, photography. So
Nice.
yep,
That's really
yep.
cool. But my last question, because the show is called Give You Blues, I know I just said this, but I want to know, what gives you the blues?
What gives me the blues?
Yes.
Okay. Um, as of right now, um, just like not being home, I kind of miss my family. So that's definitely one thing. And then just like just like when I start like overthinking on like the state of the world and things like that, I'm like I don't have to bring it up. We're all aware of what's going on, but you know, when I get too like focused on the things that are outside of me, I guess is a good way to put it. But yeah, so that and missing my family, but I'll be back soon.
That's good. That's good. So then how do you kind of get out of the blues? Like, do you talk to your family often? We have FaceTime now. And then
In the past, I was like, honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm very bad at like reaching out to people, but I've gotten a lot better. So I definitely have been making more phone calls and things like that. And then again, like listening to music, going for a walk. Going for walks are like super, super great because I could just kind of be with my thoughts and just kind of reflect. So I think those are the ones.
Nice. Okay, one last question because you did say vinyls. I do want to know, like, what's your favorite vinyl that you have in your collection?
My favorite vinyl? That's going to be a tough one because I don't have my collection here in Colorado. I would say, as of recently, Duran Jones and the Indications. Ooh. That album, it came out last year. That album is very good. Very good. I love that album. So that might be my favorite vinyl right now. It's hard. I have a decent amount. I can't remember them all off of memory, but I think that's the first one that came to mind. So that's probably the one.
Nice. So it's safe to say that's probably the first one you'll listen to when you get back home.
For sure.
Nice. Well, it was nice chatting with you for a bit. I know we didn't talk too long, but I hope that you enjoyed the... Oh, what did you have to say? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Can I take back my answer real quick?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay. So there's this album. It's like it's a mashup album with Fela Kuti and De La Soul, and it's a nice green vinyl. But yeah, that's probably my favorite.
I didn't even know I'm sorry. I didn't even know a mashup of Fela Kuti and De La Soul was out there. So
it's fire. It is so fire. You definitely have to listen to it.
I'm gonna have to try to find that because that sounds amazing. That's cool.
Yep.
But as we close out, I want to have you, share your social media pages for the fans, your fans, and also just our audience in general. So, Instagram, Twitter, all of your faves.
For sure. You can find me anywhere at Treyzis. That's Treyzis. 9 times out of 10, I'm probably gonna be the first results. Add Treyz everywhere: Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, YouTube, the whole night. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for coming on air and discussing your blues a little bit as well as some other things. I really appreciate you for coming out. And also, shout out to all your amazing music because I really appreciate all of your music. It's so good. So definitely, everybody that's watching, check them out. It's so good. Thank you.
I appreciate it. All right. It's been super real.
Yes. I'll catch you next time.
Am I frozen?
You were a little frozen.
All right. I just said it's been super real, but yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you for coming. I'll catch you next time.
Just breathe, and all my people 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 just breathe.